Leon Jennings here from Asian Persuasion MMA. I'm here with Tyler McGuire, who competes on the one on TNT one card coming up on April 7th. Tyler, how's it going? How's the journey to Singapore?
Good. It's like a 30-hour flight, but luckily I kind of figured out my schedule and I slept most of the way. I fell asleep leaving San Francisco and I kind of woke up hitting Japan, and then I fell asleep again and I was in Singapore. So it wasn't too bad. I woke up to eat and that's about it. So well, it wasn't bad. So, and the hotel's nice. So one is definitely taking care of us here. So
Brilliant. You returned the end of last year against Agilan Thani. Before that, you didn't compete for roughly about 2 years. Obviously, some of that was, I'm sure, was down to COVID. What was the reason as well of not fighting for so long?
Going into that title fight, I knew that I'd be taking about a 10-month layoff. I'd already told one that because as I'm sure you know, I'm active duty military. And the Air Force worked with me and kind of moved some training around for me. So I could compete in November, and then I just needed to, because the training I had to do was kind of a block training. I couldn't really like stop in the middle of it. So I got it worked out where I could fight, and then I would do the training, and then I was supposed to come back at the end of 2019, early 2020, but then COVID hit. So I was actually trying to fight, like I think it was in February or March of 2020. And there were, we were talking about it, and then all of a sudden, obviously the world shut down. So but no, the about 10, 11 months was planned for that. So
obviously, like you say, 2020, the world went a bit crazy. How was your 2020 in general overall?
Really, it's gonna sound weird, but like it didn't really affect me a whole lot because I don't really go out and do a whole lot anyway. Like my life, it revolves around my family and the gym and my job. So I mean, with the exception of wearing masks, and the social distancing, and maybe not going to restaurants to eat, but ordering in or whatever. The things, and even the things I do for fun. I own a side-by-side like off-roading vehicle, so even when I go out and do things for fun, it's out in the middle of the desert of Arizona. So like I'm not really around people anyway. And then when I'm training, like, we were in a bubble almost, whereas like for a while I couldn't train because everything was shut down. But then when things were opening up, I trained with the same 3 or 4 people all the time. We just kind of kept ourselves in a bubble, not to obviously put anybody at risk. So, but yeah, I'm not really a hermit, but I don't really like go out like to the club or anything. So it didn't really affect me a whole lot. So,
like I said, you were returning against Agilan Thani, you got the win. You weren't best pleased with your performance though, were you?
I'm sorry, it cut out a little
bit. You came back and you beat Agilan Thani. I thought it was an impressive performance, but I read you weren't impressed with your own performance.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so there was a lot of things. That's probably the most adversity-filled fight week we've ever had. I actually got food poisoning Tuesday night, and I lost 6 pounds like non-voluntarily. We'll leave it that way. It wasn't COVID, so I just got my COVID test back, so I was negative, so I know it wasn't COVID. And just there was a lot of things led up to it. That was probably me at like 75% in the cage. I didn't get a warm up that fight just due to some scheduling weird because like this just COVID has just wrecked everything. And one's doing the best they can, and it was just miscommunications. And I did really, so basically I walked out there with like a 40-second, 30-second warm up. Now, being 35, I can't just walk. I mean, I can, obviously I did, but like, it's not optimal for me. So I really wasn't warmed up until the 3rd round. I think, in the post-fight interview, they even were asking me about like, wow, you really came on the 3rd round. You look pretty tired. I'm like, yeah, because like I hit the end of my first wind at the 2nd round, which you're supposed to hit in the back. You're supposed to come out at your 2nd wind, but I didn't even get there until my 2nd. That's why I came out with that flying knee. I decided to do that as he was walking out. I looked at my coach and I go, I got to warm up somehow. So I just did the flying knee. And we're going to do the clinch game and see what happens. So yeah, that's what got the ball rolling. So
it must be extra satisfying to have got that win then against, especially someone like Agilan. He's one of the top contenders in the welterweight division. He's fought for the title. So it must be extra satisfying.
It was, it was bittersweet though, because I consider Agilan a friend. Him and I have talked quite a bit. We've, one of my favorite stories of him is I just said that I liked his shirt, and he gave me the shirt off his back, and he only met me like the first time he ever met me. So he truly is like a kind, humble individual. So I wasn't real thrilled to fight him, but we were both understood it's a business. Only one person can hold the title. We're both jockeying for position, so we put the friendship aside there. But then afterwards, even when we were doing the post-fight stuff, we were back to talking and hanging out. So that was a tough one for multiple reasons. Just because he's a friend, the food poisoning, the no warm up. It was just, it was bad. So, but we got through it. So, there's really nothing anymore. And my coach said after the fight, like, none of the fighters that he coaches can ever give an excuse ever again. Being underweight, not getting a warm up, sick, doesn't matter. It's the guy across from me has 2 arms, 2 legs, and needs air to breathe. So get it done or don't.
So this time around, you've got a bit of a quicker turnaround. I imagine you're happy to get back in there pretty quick, sharp.
Yeah, I don't really believe in ring rust, really, but it is nice to have a bit of consistency. After the last fight, I was able to take a month or so off, because every fight, you're a little banged up. Like, I mean, just regardless, like little bumps and bruises, things you don't feel until a few days later. Just trying to get some family time, because when I'm in camp, because I have a full-time job, I'm working 17.5-hour days. If I strength conditioning in the morning, working all day for the Air Force, and then I train at night till 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then it's just rinse and repeat for 8 weeks. So got a little downtime, but in the end, like, I'm in my prime running years right now. I'm on the cusp of another title shot. So like, this is the time. I don't want to be on the shelf again. The next time I want to be on the shelf, I want to be retired. So like, that's my plan. Stay busy.
What are your thoughts on your opponent coming up, Raimond Magomedaliev?
Yeah, I mean, really, like, anybody from Dagestan with a beard, like, they're all killers. I mean, you pick a guy walking up the street at the grocery market, he's probably, these guys probably throw leg kicks in street fights. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Hawaiians, like, they're all tough. So he is a bit different, though, in the sense that he's not primarily a grappler. He kind of breaks the mold a little bit. I don't question. I mean, we saw what he did against Barati. The guy, has good wrestling defense, but we've also seen, against Nakashima that, pressure can start to play an effect. I think he'll come ready. I know for as far as me, I've got to be wary of the range he attacks when I close the distance. It's no secret that I want to be, this far from your face with throwing my own attacks. So that's just something I'm going to have to be aware of. But there's definitely a lot of respect here. Obviously, he just knocked out that Brazilian. I don't know anything really about that Brazilian. I know that he stood along the cage for like 30 seconds before he punched him in the mouth. So, I mean, I think my 5-year-old daughter could have done that. So I don't know. Like, we'll see. So.
You think a win here could earn you another shot at the title?
I do. I don't really see who else would be ahead of me. I know there's some other dudes with beards from Dagestan that are tough and upcoming. But as far as you look at the strength of schedule, like, everybody that I've fought has either fought for the title or had the title. Like, if you look at Sapo, right? Like, my first fight and won 65-10 with 38 knockouts. He knocked out my teammate in 12 seconds, right? Sebastian, who obviously I lost for the title in the last like 20 seconds. And even then, like, my title fight, like, it was in the last waning moments, and I just got caught. It is what it is, right? And then I come back and fight Agilan, who fought for the title, right? And then now this guy, chances are, if he beats me, he's gonna go fight for the title. So I think strength of schedule. I think that, like, I am the clear cut. If I can get past Raymond, which I'm not looking past him at all. Like, I've taken, he is a very formidable opponent and a deserving challenger if he goes on to beat me. So yeah, I think the winner of this is going to get a good strong look.
How excited are you to be competing on this one on TNT series? Obviously, going to be fighting in prime time US, which I guess is great for your family and friends.
Yeah, I'm pumped, and people aren't going to have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It'll be kind of nice. Plus, I get to share a card with 2 legends. I actually get to do some of my medicals with Eddie Alvarez. So I haven't met him yet. I've met Mighty Mouse, one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life. But I'm really excited to meet Eddie. Obviously he's trying to win the one world championship himself, and win every major promotions title. Right, like that's unheard of. So yeah, it's incredible. I do wish I was on the actual TNT card instead of the Bleacher Report. No offense to Bleacher Report, but just because that'd be cool to be on TNT in the history of sports. But it is what it is. If I get this win, I'll be fighting for the title, and then I will be on the TNT. So it's just cool to be a part of that main push. So,
what are your thoughts on the current welterweight champion, Kiamrian Abbasov?
So that dude, he's a beast. You see how, like, and speaking of adversity, you see how he came back from adversity of Nakashima. I mean, I had Nakashima winning that fight, and then just like, and I said in previous interviews, like, Abbasov is dangerous for 5 rounds. Like, there's no like 3.5, 23 of the 25. He's dangerous for 25 minutes, right? And even when he's resting, he's not really resting. He's just reloading. Right? Like, the dude can blow up at any point in time. However, though, I do feel like I match up well because he likes to create car wrecks with his striking and all that. And I do pretty well with car wrecks, right? That's going to come down to athleticism and mental fortitude. And I think that's where I match up, right? He's not He's just, you know, he's explosive and strong, but he's not really like, he's not real crafty. You know, he's hard nosed, right? And that's not a diss. He doesn't play for point fighting, right? He wants to take your head on, put on a pike, which I respect and I like that style. So, I do think it'd be a fun matchup, but like I said, I got to get past the Raymond first on Thursday. Well, Wednesday for United States, Thursday for me. Thursday at 9:30 in the morning or something.
It looks like he's angling for a fight for the middleweight title against Reinier de Ridder. What are your thoughts on that matchup and him wanting to go up rather than make another title defense in his own division?
I mean, that's a tall order. Obviously, he took out Angla. Wow, man, like that's a tall order. If he wants to do that, great. As long as he doesn't hold up the welterweight division. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that you see in other organizations. I mean, I get it, champ and all that, but but that does create an extra like, hey, now you got to be even more active, and can your body hold up? And the thing is like, even though the fighters don't cut weight, like I don't know how much Abbasov walks around at. I mean, I think he's a little stockier, thicker dude, probably walks around 190, 195, but like even at middleweight, that's the 205. These guys are still walking around at like probably 215, 220 outside of camp, and they diet down because we have the hydration test and all that, but they still diet down to this. So, I mean, that's going to be a tall order. If he can do it, hats off to him, but it's still not going to take the target off his back for the welterweight division. So,
if you get the win and you can't get an instant title shot, would you consider a rematch with Sebastian Caddiston?
Yes. So this is actually going to be probably the last fight on my contract. Time-wise, it's up and around June. So, but I mean, really, this fight is not really enough turnaround for another fight. So really, this is going to be an audition, for what my re-signing is going to look like. I do want to re-sign, with one. I have every intention to. It's just a matter of like, that's something my manager and them can work out. But just like with any job interview, I gotta do the work. But yeah, no, that's the one that got away. I do think if it was a 3-round fight, I won that fight. So there's nothing I would like more to run that back. And if I was ever fortunate enough to win a title, I'd probably give Sebastian the first shot just to get it back there anyway, because like that's just something as a competitor that I want back. And I learned a lot from that fight. Learned a lot about energy management. And, so that was my first ever 5-round fight. So I'd always had one answer for something through 18 fights, more horsepower. But over 25 minutes with a fist fight, that's not always the answer. So I got to be a little bit more of a tactician. So that's some things I learned.
Lastly, how do you get the win? How do you get hand raised at one on TNT against Raimond Magomedaliev?
I think I'm gonna make him wilt under the pressure. The thing is like anything that, or anytime you see me fight, I'm always forward. You know what I mean? If I'm backing up for a second, it's just to figure out the angle to go forward again. And that's, that seems to be the recipe, to beat him, and we'll see, I said the same thing against Sebastian, we'll drag him out to deep water and we'll see if he can swim. Sebastian was able to swim. So we'll see if Raymond can. I know he's going to be tough, but I think that not many people have been able to withstand my pressure. Agilan is also another pressure guy. You saw that even when I was at 70, 80%, he was starting to wilt. So that's the game plan, right? Like, let's just see how tough you are. So.
Well, can't wait. Good luck. Looking forward to it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.